Let's dive right in. Today, we're putting you in the hot seat. Imagine a multi-million-dollar payments app is on fire, and you've got less than an hour to figure out why and tell the higher-ups what to do. This isn't just about crunching numbers. It's about making a huge call against the ticking clock. So, let's start your timer.
All right, so picture this. You're a business analyst for a massive UPI payments app. This dashboard right here, this is your command center. You're seeing money spent, transaction volumes, user trends, the whole universe of data that tells you if the business is healthy or not.
And, on a normal day, things are great. It's smooth sailing. The numbers are solid, the charts are all pointing up, and most importantly, the whole system is stable. Money's flowing, customers are happy, all green.
Well, that's stability. It's about to get completely shattered, because that sea of green can turn into a blaze of red warning lights in a blink of an eye. The real question is, when that happens, what on earth do you do?
Just to give you a sense of what's at stake here, let's talk scale. At its peak, your app is processing something like 1.2 million transactions every single hour. We're talking about a massive volume where any little hiccup can have huge, immediate consequences.
Now, in a system this big, a few failures are totally normal. The acceptable, everyday transaction failure rate, it kind of hangs out between 3 and 4%. Think of this as your baseline. This is the healthy heartbeat of the system.
And here we go. This is where our crisis kicks off. It's 11:30 in the morning, and a big, ugly, critical alert just flashes across your dashboard. Something is very, very wrong.
And this is the number staring back at you. 17%. The overall failure rate has just skyrocketed. I mean, that is more than 4 times the normal rate. Right now, millions of dollars in payments are failing. And you can just imagine the thousands of customers getting more and more frustrated by the second.
The clock is now officially, terrifyingly ticking. Management has seen the alert, of course, and they need answers. Not just what's happening, but what to do about it. And yeah, they need your recommendation in the next 30 minutes. No pressure.
All right, deep breath. Time to put on our detective hat. We have a snapshot of data from the last hour. The answer has to be in there somewhere. We just need to find it.
Okay, so first logical question. Did this thing happen all at once, or did it build up? Let's break down the failures by time and see if we can spot any kind of pattern.
And right away, the data gives us our first huge clue. Look at this. From 9:30 to 10:30 this morning, the failure rate was a perfectly happy 3.5%. But then, at 10:30, bam! It explodes to 17% and just stays there. This tells us the problem started very, very suddenly.
Seeing it as a chart makes it even more dramatic, doesn't it? It's like a switch was flipped at exactly 10:30 a.m. This is a critical piece of the puzzle. We now know when the problem started, but we still have no idea why. Okay, let's keep digging. What's our next line of inquiry? Could this be related to a specific type of phone? Maybe a new app update is messing with one platform but not the other? And here we find another really interesting clue. The failure rate on Android is a whopping 15%, super close to that overall failure rate. But look at iOS, it's at 4.25%. I mean, yeah, it's a little high, but it's much, much closer to our healthy baseline. So this tells us that while Android is getting hammered, this isn't just an Android problem. It's a major piece of the puzzle, but it's not the whole story. This brings us to our third and maybe most critical question. Our app doesn't exist in a bubble, right? We rely on our banking partners to actually process all these transactions. So, what if the problem isn't with us at all?
And there it is, the smoking gun. The data for our banking partners could not be clearer. Bank A, Bank C, and Bank D all have failure rates between 4 and 5%, smack in the normal range. But Bank B has a failure rate of 20%.
Putting this on a chart just makes the problem crystal clear. Look at that. The other banks are all clustered down there around the normal baseline, while Bank B is just this massive, massive outlier. This isn't just a small blip, it's a catastrophic failure inside a single partner system that is dragging our entire average through the mud. Okay, we've gathered the clues. We have the time spike, we have the device issue, and now we have the outlier bank. It's time to connect the dots and make our final diagnosis.
So let's just recap what the evidence is screaming at us. Number 1, the problem started out of nowhere right after 10:30 a.m. 2, while Android is getting hit hard, iOS is doing relatively okay. And 3, the absolute killer piece of evidence. Bank B is failing at a staggering rate of 20%, while everybody else is just fine.
So, what's our diagnosis? It's pretty clear. Our app itself is stable. This is not our fault. This is not a system-wide crash. The data is pointing overwhelmingly to what we call a dependency failure. The root of this whole mess lies with one of our external partners, Bank B.
We have our diagnosis, but that clock is still ticking down. Now comes the hardest part of all, telling management exactly what to do about it right now.
Management has given us 5 potential actions here. Now, we could block all Android users, but we know it's not just an Android problem. We could send an alert to all of our users, but that might cause a huge panic when most of the banks are working fine. So that leaves us with a few core options. Reroute traffic from Bank B, just wait and see what happens, or take other drastic steps. And believe me, each choice has serious consequences.
Let's focus on the 2 most logical but totally opposite options. First is direct action. We reroute all traffic away from Bank B. That would immediately fix our overall failure rate and protect our users. But it's an aggressive move. It could really tick off a key partner. The other option is patience. Wait and observe. We don't do anything rash. But every single minute we wait, we are bleeding revenue and letting our brand image take a serious hit. And this, right here, is probably the most important lesson in any data-driven crisis. There might not be one single, perfect, right answer. What really matters is that your recommendation is logical, it's defensible, and it is directly supported by the evidence that you've just uncovered.
So based on all the evidence, the strongest, most defensible recommendation is to take immediate, targeted action. By temporarily rerouting all transactions away from Bank B, we attack the primary source of the failure. It contains the damage, it restores service for the vast majority of our users, and it buys us time to get on the phone with our partner and figure out how to fix the root cause. So, the recommendation is made, the action is taken, the immediate crisis is over, but the work is not done, not by a long shot. The fire is out, sure, but now you have to think about the future. How do you go about repairing the relationship with Bank B? And maybe more importantly, how do you build a more resilient system so that something like this never, ever happens again? Well, that's the next puzzle to solve.